السباق يكون عليه قاع السيارة، عليه قاع الموسيقى. حالتين يا حسين. جاكور ايه تايب تيز واسبي بي ام دبليو. هذه مازدا. كوبر. فورت. شت ضيع عليه هذا. فينيش. يا برونز.
Pull up in the Maserati, maybe the Bugatti, Ducati. They're telling me I'm too flashy. Pull up in the Maserati, maybe the Bugatti.
You can now play Gran Turismo. عاد لازم. هلا مرحبتين. ما مفتوح الاونلاين بعده. واحد. لازم افتح هذا. ايش؟ وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. اهلا. واخيرا مع صوت المحرك. لا اتلف هذه. كله برونز. فين؟ لامسر الآن. ادعس. كله برونز. كم باقي لي؟ هوندا سيفيك. هل أستطيع أو لا؟ برونز. الأخير بعدين ديسن البي. هذا البي لا الاي يمكن اتوقع. لا لا مشكلة باليد، صعب تلعب سيارات. الليلة شو السياقة ذي. زين خلصته. الحين نروح لازم نفك هذا الليفن. استغرب انا ليش ما تلف سبارو زين بدون بريك يعني، بعد ما مسجل اللي يعني. تفضل رجعت مرة ثانية ليش؟ حين الليسن خلصنا 1 2. بريك. ليش ما تلف صح؟ تأخرت شوي. مرة ثانية رجعوني ليش؟ خلاص احنا ما بطل. هذا ماشي. كسلت السيارة، كسلت. كنت بخسر. الحين كم باقي اللي 1 2 3 4. يطول وايد، يطول هذا. بدنا نشوف طور الاونلاين كيف. لا مستحيل افوز، وايد ضيعت وقت. اوف، فزت والله على هذا السياق، فزت. باقي 3 باقي. وش نوع هذه السيارة؟ امبريزا ذي ساندرا. رالي، ما اعرف اسوقها. شت لازم اسرع وايد، ما اقدر. ايوه والله ما فيها ثبات. الحين اخر وش يسموه، NS X وبعدين سوبرا. هذه عاد صعب. ادعت يا شيخ. مستحيل افوز، مستحيل. الحمد لله. اخر سباق 100,000 كوينز. فاينل. صبرا. لهالسياقة ما اقدر افوز. فزت الحمد لله. الحين بيفتحوا الطور الاونلاين ونشوف الاونلاين كيف اموره. نشوف فتحوه ولا لا. فولكس وين هذي؟ ليفل 5. اخيرا نشوف فتحوه ولا لا. ما فتحوه. سبورت كمبيوتر. وش هذا؟ اتوقع هذا لا. نشوف. باخذ لي جي تي ار. طيب سيلفا. فين السيارات القديمة؟ ايوه. هوندا تويوتا. وين نيسان؟ شوف كيف عارضنها هذا. والله كلاسيك غالي. فريزا. شت غالية ما اقدر لها. ستوك. شوف شيء ببيع كم من سيارة. خليني العب هذا الجيم جيم واحد بعدين. ما قدر الحقهم والله. سريعين هذولا. ماشي غير. تو هذه ما قادر اتجاوزها. الحين الترتيب الرابع انا. راح امبريزا. تحفظ كل لفة كم تدخلها على سرعة كم. خلاص مقدر العقل. أنا مستغرب يا أخي. ما عندي سيارات واجد. تبيع السيارة. أخي ما فتحوا الأونلاين.
Here in London, it is World Series 1 of 2025. Let's run you through the grids and how they're going to be lining up ahead of the grand final here at the Tokyo Expressway. Well, Sai Suzuki absolutely blitzed it in qualifying. He lines up on pole position for Team BMW and is joined on the front row by Takuma Miyazono for Subaru. Row 2, Sato in the Porsche. They were pretty handy in Q1, but lost time in Q2. Kawakami and Lexus, the reigning champs, line up alongside. Morimoto heads row 3 for Toyota, and Kokkoman is there for Mazda in 6th place as well. Sasaki lines up P7 for Mercedes AMG, and Gotto for Lamborghini down in P8. Can the mid-engine layout prove to be fortunate here today? Kamada lines up 9th, completing the top 10 is Okamoto for Nissan, and the grid is completed by Sugimura in the Honda NSX, and 12th position is Jun Hashima in the Ferrari 458. Now, of course, the difference in tyre strategies available for the drivers. No options for, or no rules essentially to state that they have to use both tyre compounds in the race, and interestingly there, JB, the top two have gone for the softs.
Yeah, I mean, just like in other motorsport series, those soft tyres are going to be faster than those mediums. They'll be off to a good start, and the objective of going on that tyre early is to try and build a gap, try and get into clean air and use the rubber to its best possible use. Of course, championship points are available down to 6th position, so everyone vying over those top 6 places. But watch out for Suzuki, watch out for Miyazono. They'll be fast starting, and after that it's going to be a bit of a Royal Rumble, I think.
Yep, certainly will. Looking forward to seeing how this one is going to work out. There is Sai Suzuki. Of course, he's in a bit of a disadvantage at the start of this one, despite being in pole position, because he hasn't got the hole in the air being punched in front of him, unlike all the other drivers behind. And are they going to be able to use that slipstream to their advantage once we get onto the long straight here? Well, we're ready to go. World Series 1 of Gran Turismo here in London is underway. Sai Suzuki leads the field across the line, followed by Miyazono, then Sato. So it's BMW, Subaru and Porsche down towards the first corner. Is anybody going to think about a dive into T1? I think they're a bit too far away, really, to be honest with you. What about, though, into the next series of corners? We're on a long straight now and heading into a very heavy braking zone. Is that going to leave BMW under a bit of pressure here from Subaru? Can Porsche and maybe even Lexus get themselves involved in the action? So here it is, Suzuki that leads on the soft tyres from the fellow soft shod Takuma Miyazono down into the hairpin bend. No moves at the sharp end of this field, but the rear of them looking pretty close actually into there.
Yeah, everyone actually following line of steering through there. So Suzuki, Miyazono lead the pack. A look with the gap already between Miyazono and Sato in that Porsche behind, it's making the use of that soft tyre for now. But as you're saying, Tom, a lot of medium speed corners here, and there is the dirty air that is thrown up by these Group 3 machines. So it's about being a little bit more, maybe a bit more careful in the corner than you'd like to be. Now Miyazono kind of hanging on for dear life here on the back on Suzuki in that BMW, using the toe to his best possible use, and he might be close enough for a go into the hairpin at the bottom here, but does he want to leave? That is the question. So on board now with Miyazono through this long twisted section, completely flat out in these Group 3 cars, and now we go towards the hairpin. Suzuki goes defensive in the BMW. Miyazono maybe looks to the inside. No, he stays there for now, and the positions remained unchanged at the front.
It's interesting there how the difference in line sort of converged back up, because of course the track bottlenecks up. Sato having a big wiggle out of the hairpin bend. That might leave them under a bit of pressure here from Lexus and Kawakami. It's not a particularly long run into sort of the next big braking zone. Well, actually, as a matter of fact, it sort of flicks right and then left, so you're going through these medium speed corners. The problem that you've got, though, in these medium speed corners when you're stuck in the wheel tracks of a driver in front is, of course, you've got dirty air going through there. You're going to be punishing those front tyres a little bit more. So the converse for Miyazono is that, of course, he has got the slipstream, which is great, but in the corners he's going to be really ruining those fronts.
Yeah, Sato just hit the wall there on the exit, and it slowed him right down. Here comes Kawakami in the Lexus, the reigning champions, up into 3rd position here. It just shows you how easy it is to make a very small mistake. You touch that wall, you lose so much speed there, but of course the closer you get to it, the wider the corner is, the more speed you can carry. That is pretty much the gambit of the racing driver. Here is Kawakami, and now he's in a defensive position going down to this hairpin down the bottom. Sato looking to the inside, looking to retake that P3. He's there, he's alongside, already back up into 3rd place goes Sato, so he has no interest in staying behind Team Lexus. But of course, these guys doing that, they're going to be squabbling a little bit. That's going to give more of a space in front to Suzuki and Miyazono. They're going to love that. They're going to look in their rearview mirror and going, cool, great, keep fighting, boys. Keep going, we'll just put away in front.
Change of positions further down as well. Okamoto and Goto have just exchanged 8th position to the advantage of the Nissan driver. So they're up then into P8. Let's see whether they can make any further forward progress. Interestingly, the soft shod runners have pulled out a gap of about 2 seconds, so they're now out of that slipstreaming range here in this part of the race, which is great news there for them. But what about Ryota Kokuman here in the Mazda? He's going to pull alongside the Lexus, coming down the straight in towards the big braking zone. So it's now Mazda versus Lexus, and it's Mazda with the advantage with the inside line, and Toyota and Morimoto are going to try and join the party. There's a bit of hip and shoulder, a bit of contact into the hairpin. That's going to send Sasaki wide and drop them down about 3 or 4 places as a result of that as well. So it's now starting to get a bit fast and a bit frantic with these medium shot runners, as we still sit side by side now here between Morimoto and Kokuman for 4th place.
It's Kawakami there in that Lexus, and it will get a little bit rowdy now, Tom, as you say. There is running really one line through these corners here due to the cameras on the circuit. So as soon as you start going 2 by 2, you just end up having usually inevitable contact. We're on board now with Hiroshi Okamoto for Nissan. Great seat here of the fight ahead of us. Lamborghini in front in P7, almost pushing that thing along in our glorious turbo brick as we go down to T1 one more time. Really fast left hand, this one. You want to use all the roads here. Watch out for that barrier on the right hand side. I think there may be a little bit of contact with the wall there from Morimoto, but still able to hold the position for now as he comes down to the hairpin for the third time.
So Cockerman then in the wheel tracks here of the Toyota. In the background there, you've got Mazda looking like they're trying to put a bit of pressure, but also behind as well, you've got Goto versus Okamoto, part 3. Now Okamoto gets the better of the Lamborghini driver through into that hairpin once more. The gap at the front still continues to build. They're just running their own race here at the moment and have pulled out an advantage of about 2.5 seconds or so over Sato on the medium compound of tyres. Let's have another look at what happened then down into the hairpin bend. This is what cost AMG some track position. They're going to get biffed here, I think, by Okamoto first of all, and Goto there was on his inside as well, so that just lost them 2 places and possibly a third, just able to get the better of them on the exit of the corner.
You guys watching the Spanish Grand Prix run? Good move, strong move. But meanwhile, in front of the grid, Miyazono had actually pulled back on to the rear spoiler of Suzuki in front. So there is pace there in that BRZ. I was giving it grief here at the start of the show, but actually looking pretty quick, and he's just doing what he needs to do, just holding on to that slipstream, just sitting there. And what sort of trivia is that? Listen to the song Philosophy by Alexandros, right? What?
I've never heard of the song, so I can't really pass comment on it, to be honest.
Go check it out.
If it works for him, it's a Japanese pop song, as we understand it. So if it works for him, great news, because he's sitting in second place at the moment, and he seems like he's in the groove at the moment. Go and have a listen to that after the race, obviously, and let us know what your thoughts are on it. Meanwhile, Kawakami here defends from Morimoto. Across the start-finish line we go. Morimoto with the inside line and track position. Kawakami possibly about to come under threat here from Cockerman as well, but 4th place does change hands to the advantage of the Toyota. Morimoto is now in front, and they're starting to fall off the coattails of Sato in the Porsche here as well. They're about a second or so away, so they need to be careful about how they start battling here.
Speaking of battling, Kawakami is very keen to get that 4th place. Here comes Cockerman as well in the Mazda, looking to almost push that Lexus through the gap. So, well, if you're not going to go for it, I will, but they all stay one at a time for now. And of course, not much you can really do outside of a slipstream round here. It's a one-at-a-time circuit. There are a couple of places to overtake, but right now it is just follow the leader. And with 4 laps in, the soft tyres seemingly still have the pace advantage over the mediums, but that will switch as the race goes on. So right now, if you're Suzuki, if you're Miyazono in front, you're trying to build that gap. You're trying to make the gap as big as possible, so to prepare for that inevitable tyre fall-off. The medium runners, though, we think they can go upwards of 13 laps or switching to that soft tyre. So it's about making this tyre last, but also by keep pressuring those soft runners, because that tyre will burn out quickly.
Well, you wonder what the soft tyre runners are going to do of Suzuki and Miyazono. Are they going to go for that 2-stop strategy here in this race as Cockerman looks to the inside of Kawakami? And here's Morimoto there as well. There's more contact behind with Kawakami, then subsequently getting into the back of Cockerman. That's allowed the door to be open for Okamoto in the Nissan, who now drags alongside the Lexus, and ready to join into the party is Yusuke Goto in the Lamborghini coming through into the right-hander here as well. So it all got a bit frantic there for just a few moments. The upshot is that it's cost Lexus positions here.
How tight this racing is. You've got P4 all the way down to, well, last, and they're just separated by about 2 seconds, all of them there on a similar piece of tarmac. Kawakami has lost a few places now, down 2 places from his qualifying place, but conversely behind him, Okamoto up 3 in the Nissan. He's the biggest mover so far, so watch out for him. He is on a charge.
So, under investigation then is Cockerman versus Morimoto. We saw that collision a few moments ago. Let's see what the stewards decide on that one. Meanwhile, you've got the Porsche there, just sitting in 3rd position. The gap has still stabilised at about a second or so between themselves and Morimoto in the Toyota. Meanwhile, you've got Cockerman versus Kawakami, who's on the outside there. You've got to be so careful with this one, though, because they are so close on circuit. You open the doors to take a wider line, and then that possibly means that someone can walk through it from behind, and it compromises your entire run down the next straight.
Yeah, it's you have to be careful here. So interestingly, look at the tyre wear there on those front tyres of Suzuki compared to Miyazono. You kind of think maybe that Miyazono would be worse given he's sitting in that dirty air, but I think that car is just a bit lighter and the weight of the BMW really showing there on those front tyres. So that could be the difference. Going up and down the field though, I think the best on their tyres so far is Kawakami in 6th place, but doesn't mean much if you're stuck there.
No, you've got to try and make the progression through. Maybe just playing the longer game here in this one and waiting for the right time to strike. Cockburn goes to the defensive line into the hairpin bend. It all bottlenecks up, and Okamoto once again gets into the back of Kawakami, and a bit of hip and shoulder there from Kamada in the McLaren as well. Someone is going to be more disappointed than Arusa who's had their tonsils out after this race. I'm fairly sure of it, because they are so close to one another out on this circuit that you can just sense the fact that it is starting to bubble up. We're only on lap 5 as again the McLaren of Kamada looks at the inside of Hashima there.
Yeah, it's not really a move there to be made, just sort of sticking there and their nose alongside the rear wheel. You're never going to get through there, you just cause a little bit of contact. But yeah, really getting a little bit desperate now, because if you're stuck at the back of the straight, there's not really much you can do apart from try and push the guy in front of you on a little bit. Now, you might be wondering, well, why aren't these guys bump drafting? They would definitely catch up if they did that. That is actually against the rules here in the GT live events here. You get one more for bump drafting and then you get a big fat penalty. So that's why those guys are not pushing each other along.
Yeah, they're just taking it fairly easy at the sharp end of this race. We get into lap 6 now, which is when we're expecting the soft tyres to start going off. Don't forget as well, in the viewers campaign, if you watch directly on Gran Turismo 7, you can receive a gift card for every show that is watched. Jun Hashima looks to the inside of Goto for 8th place rather in this one, and gets the move done in the Ferrari, so now moves up into 8th position. Meanwhile, there are your top 2, Suzuki in the BMW and Miyazono in the Subaru. Interestingly, Suzuki's front tyres are a fair bit more worn than Miyazono's. Yeah, about another half a lap or so's worth of wear there on Suzuki's side, maybe a lap on Miyazono, but the rear tyres not quite as balanced. But what that says to me is that Miyazono, if he can keep this up, might get one more lap out of those soft tyres. And those soft tyres, they do tend to be pretty quick right until the end of their life, so that could be the difference here. But the gap now between Miyazono and Sato, and we're getting up to about 4 seconds now, 4.4 at the last time of checking there, so they are doing the job here, making that gap. But I think it could have been bigger. I don't think that's exactly they haven't made the most of it, the guys at the front. Morimoto here looking against Sato as well. The gap was up to a second about 3 or 4 laps or so ago. It has now come right down, and Morimoto is bringing a train of cars along with him, which might leave Sato under a bit of pressure here. And will that mean that they're able to find their way through and present an opportunity for that final podium place? It's only the early stages of the race. There's no point getting too excited about things at the moment. Still plenty of time for the complexion of this one to change. But we come along the start-finish straight. Sato keeping the car very firmly on the left-hand side of the circuit. They're going to go for a defensive line down to T1. They move over to the normal racing line, but you can see the closing speed there with this Toyota, and subsequently how much quicker they're able to go through into turn 1. They have to back right off of the pace, even though they've got more of an advantage, a bit more grip underneath them, courtesy of some fresher tyres then here as well. And you sense that it's starting to bubble up here for this podium place, and Sato knows that, goes for the defensive line. Morimoto goes for the outside into the hairpin. Can they invent something into the braking zone? Morimoto on the outside and now through into third.
It's that Toyota now starting to come strong in the second part of the race, maybe just a little bit better on those worn tyres than the cars around it. Again, reminder of our tyre strategies there. We think that these soft tyres, this is going to be their last lap, although I'm thinking about it, I think Miyazono can definitely do one more. I'm not sure about Suzuki though. The gap has come down slightly now between P2 and P3, so those medium tyres are starting to be quicker than the softs. Now, the question is, has Miyazono, has Suzuki, have they noticed that? Are they going to box this lap? So the pit lane is just in this hairpin here. Suzuki leading the soft runners down towards there. Miyazono in P2, who we ride on board with now. Do they peel to the left-hand side of the circuit? They do. Both of them into the pit lane there. Switching over to that medium compounder tyre, they've decided they can't do any more. And Suzuki and Miyazono both pit together.
What they now need is a nice bit of clear air to run along with each other in this race. Pit loss time about 11 seconds or so, plus the time that you are stopped for, which as you can see is fairly minimal. Where are they going to emerge back into this race, and how much is the distance in terms of seconds going to be between Sasaki and Suzuki? Meanwhile, the sharp end of this one, now the battle for the effective race lead is starting to get a bit scrappy. Sato has gotten back in front of Toyota. Meanwhile, Suzuki and Miyazono, they've got about 6 seconds or so to Sasaki. That's a good buffer for them. They can just run their own race, carry on doing their own strategy, and not worry about being caught up in other people's dramas.
Well, this is the important part of the race now for Suzuki and Miyazono. You need to really push now and make the most of that clear air in front, as Tom says. So Sato, conversely, in the same sort of position. These next few laps, they need to make sure they are not fighting so much and just trying to get that lap time in, because they, the guy directly behind is not the threat for the win. It is the two cars, 11th and 12th place.
And the converse to that, of course, is that could also happen to the likes of Morimoto, Sato, Kokeman, etc. They're obviously on a different strategy on the medium tyres. In theory, they'll be quicker at the end of the race, if indeed they do go on to soft tyres, which is what we're expecting them to do. So, but the problem is, if they start fighting amongst one another, start squabbling, that's going to cost them time, and if it costs them a second, half a second or so, that could be the difference between challenging for the victory and battling for the lowly podium places.
Well, we're going to find out in about 5 laps time when these guys come in and bolt on and settle those soft tyres. So it does seem that the strategy is that one stop, and it is make the mediums go as long as possible and then get on those soft tyres. So a reminder, the points are awarded here for the top 6 cars, of course. 6 down to 1 from 1st to 6th position, and they will count, of course, towards the final all the way in Fukuoka at the end of the year. So score points early, puts you in a good place for the rest of the year.
So on board here then with Jun Hashima in the Ferrari. We know that car's pretty handy. We've seen good pace from it over the course of last season with Medina, who took a victory in World Series 2 back in Prague. Meanwhile, let's have a look at some dramas then here between Miyazono and Suzuki. So this is coming down into the hairpin after the first corner, and you see Miyazono getting getting track position there against Suzuki. The positions, though, yeah, they still sit differently there. So Miyazono is now back in front.
So interesting, that's Miyazono basically making a move for the lead of this race. He's decided he doesn't want to sit behind Suzuki anymore. He wants to push hard on this medium compounder tyre. He's already made a gap of about half a second there, so maybe we're going to now see the real pace of Miyazono in that Subaru.
Well, what was the good thing about Miyazono's car in that first strategy? The tyres. It went, 4 or 5% higher than Suzuki's. And he was in dirty air over the course of that first stint, so maybe he now wants to run in clear air, save those tyres even more, and maybe the fact that that car is being pretty kind to the rubber that's on the bottom of it will prove to be a benefit for them later on in the race. Meanwhile, we look at the battle for the race leaders it sits for now. Morimoto still defends, Sato's looking for the inside line, Kokeman's getting involved as well as Kawakami. Kawakami's on the inside then for 3rd position against Kokeman. Sato there looking to pick the pocket of the Toyota as well, but nothing doing. So Kawakami was the only beneficiary despite a lot of action kicking off into there.
No, what's interesting, behind this, it's only a 4.5 second gap until we have Miyazono and Suzuki. They're not too far behind this little train, so really showing the pace of that new medium tyre compared to the old right now, as Morimoto leads into the tunnel from Sato from Kawakami. The snake of cars echoing through the tunnel here on the Tokyo Expressway, coming down to the hairpin one last time. 9 laps down, 20 to go. Morimoto will try and defend into this hairpin. They won't just let Sato have it. These guys need to maybe start working a bit more intelligently together if they want any hope of taking the win here today. Kawakami, big lunge around the outside. Is he going into the pits?
Yeah, he can't overshoot it that much.
Say, what a move if he's making that work.
Yeah, straight to the pits then for Kawakami. Now, interestingly, where's he going to go in terms of strategy? Medium tyres, about a second or so slower, and he's gone for another medium set of tyres. So he's going for the medium strategy then, presumably for the end of this. I'm hoping that the longevity of that compound of tyre will prove to pay dividends later on in the race. And what's the thing you need in pit lane? After pit lane, you need clear air. So he needs to come out without any dramas. No traffic behind him is the crucial thing there for Kanata Kawakami as he emerges back into this race. He's about 5 seconds or so off the back of Suzuki. Again, worked out quite nicely for them here, and he'll have decent enough rubber to the end of this one.
Just have to wonder if that's the play or not. Like, it's a tricky one because we know how fast that soft tyre is, but we're seeing the tyre life here on our screens, and a lot of the guys are struggling. And if they want to make that soft tyre work, which is about 7 laps maximum lap Sato, for example, who has pretty much no rear tyres left compared to the guys around him, needs to make those tyres last another 3 laps.
Well, just to give you an idea of the difference in pace between worn mediums and new mediums. New mediums for Miyazono and Suzuki, they're in the sort of mid 1 minute 57s. The drivers that are all on the medium tyres that haven't pitted yet, the sharp end of this race that you're looking at, they're all sort of in the early to mid 1 minute 58, so they're about 8 to 9 tenths of a second slower at this point.
Maybe Kawakami saw this. He thought, okay, right, I can see that I'm stuck in this train. I can't do anything else. If I pit for softs with everybody else, I'm going to still be stuck in this train. I might as well try something different. And he ended up boxing for those medium tyres. And we'll just keep an eye on that, because we'll see if anyone else blinks. Now will be the time to do it at the end of this lap. Coming again for that medium set. Will Kawakami get an undercut? We will see. Morimoto still leading this train of the non-stoppers so far in Team Toyota. That car still strong here in 2025.
Sato's the one you need to worry about because he's got lower tyres compared to everybody else around him. Kokubun, incidentally, in the Mazda, looking pretty handy there with 45%. Now Sato's into the pits in the Porsche at the end of lap 10 then. So how is this going to work out? What's the gap going to be relative to Kanata Kawakami? Sasaki and Sugimura also following him into the pit lane there as well.
Look at the gap. There's Miyazono, there's Kawakami, and they just swan off into the lead massively for those guys. They have played the right thing for now. Kawakami there just about getting by Sato, so he pitted 1 lap earlier. Tyres are fired up, already up a temperature, and by Sato he goes. So maybe that was the right call there for Kawakami.
Well, the undercuts work. The problem is now that he, of course, has worn his tyres a little bit more because he's done 1 more lap. So will they come to bite him in the backside in the closing stage of the race? He's, enjoying the fruits of his labour as it sits for now, but let's see what it looks like in 8.5 laps time. Meanwhile, the sharp end of this one, the top 6 drivers have not yet pitted. That's Toyota with Morimoto, Kokubun with Mazda, Okamoto with Nissan, Hashima with Ferrari, Goto with the Lamborghini, Kamada with the McLaren, and Miyazono, of course, is the first of the drivers that has now pitted. So 6 drivers yet to box. Will they come in at the end of this lap? Let's wait and see.
We will, as these guys still squabbling, although they have calmed down somewhat now. I think they understand that they do need to just push and try and lose as little time as possible. Let's look at the background. You see there in the background Kawakami and Sato, but here is Suzuki and Miyazono, both looking very quick right now, and importantly only 4.8 seconds now behind Kamada in the McLaren, who's yet to stop. So these guys are going to jump everyone when they box, but they are going to be on that older tyre at the end. But track position is important around here.
That's the problem, isn't it? You've got to find that balance between using track position and also wearing your tyres out. They've got a 5-second buffer over Kawakami, which is, great for them right now, but is it going to leave them vulnerable at the end of the race? Let's wait and see what happens, though, as we come down in towards the pit area. Does anybody dive into the pits? Morimoto there on the outside as Kokubun goes over to take the lead. We know that Mazda has been pretty kind on its tyres so far in this race, and they still sit side by side. First time in 2020. Years old, I was still trying to play the PlayStation.
Do that now. I do that view still now.
You wait till Guy gets a bit up. That I wasn't getting in the way.
This is why he's stopping
at the front for the first time in 2025. Corner, so the motor there on the outside,
end. Only 4 point round, we will, as he's
coming him into the pit. As they haven't pitted yet, the sharp end of this race that you're looking at, they're all sort of in the early to mid 1 minute 58.
I'm going to still be stuck in this again. In 2020,
the Porsche as well.
Look at the gap, so he pitted 1 lap earlier.
Because he's done 1 more lap time. Means the lap, let's wait and see.
You see there in the background, Kamada in the McLaren, who's yet to stop. So these guys are going to jump everyone.
5-second buffer over Kawakami. On the outside as Kokubun then now moves ahead of the Toyota Gazoo Racing GT concept in this race, and they still sit side by side on the exit of the corner. So the RX Group 3 car then now moves ahead of the Toyota Gazoo Racing GT concept. So it's Mazda who hit the front for the first time in 2025 now.
Here they are. Kokubun, of course, a bit of a veteran from these series. There you go. Started playing G when he was 3 years old. This is why he's so much better than I am.
3 years old, I was still trying to play the PlayStation, and my sister was putting the controller under. Started on the medium tyres, now going onto the soft compound. So the real outlier here. So at lap 12,
with a slingshot without bump draft, was the 13 laps of work on the medium compound tyre. Morimoto in the background looking to try and get back past Kokubun. kind of working together there, giving each other the slingshot without bump drafting and just pulling themselves along a bit quicker than the rest of the group.
Now we're coming towards the end of what we thought was going to be a useful window, and indeed the top two are coming in at the end of lap 12 then, and they're also being followed in by another driver as well. So Gotto is into the box there. So now it's only 3 drivers that are yet to pit in this race. So a lap earlier than we're expecting the ultimate race distance to be, but it's interesting there, the drivers that started on the medium tyres now going onto the soft compound. So the real outlier here is Kawakami, who of course went medium in this race. Is that going to prove to be to his benefit later on when those soft tyres are, I imagine, going to be pretty clapped out?
Yes, as well, I didn't notice that Suzuki did get back by Miyazono at some point, so yeah, 56 medium tyre, they've been able to catch the tyre.
The end of this one, let's have a look at how Suzuki got back in front of Miyazono through.
Very shortly, I'm sure, but Okamoto, Hashima and Kamada.
Well, you get the sense that this race is going to start bubbling up towards the end of this one. Let's have a look at how Suzuki got back in front of Miyazono through these fast left-handers, and that was a beautiful bit of slip there in the BMW, switched to the inside line, got through, and is now ahead of the Subaru for what we effectively think is going to be the race lead. You can see they've ascended up to 4th position, and they are lurking there in the background from the top 3, who of course are still owing
the way into the hair and die
box cut in this one. So are they going to be able to be a threat and close the open?
Got a few that minimum lap if you're going
and distraught.
Also,
what really benefit from is if Suzuki and Miyazono for Kokuma. And now we know that the soft tyre has got a greater amount of grip.
But on the outside, he tries to. He's still alongside the Porsche, fighting for dear life at P3. Keeps the pace for now, but on the inside there, who is that?
That's Gotto. That was Gotto on the inside with a massive send. The door was sort of half open there, and now it's Sato versus Gotto, side by side on the toe, almost faces the wall on the outside. Morimoto picks his pocket in the Toyota, and now also Kokuma ready to join in on the action.
Yeah, great defensive effort there from Sato, but short-lived, cannot defend against that medium tyre. Contact to the tunnel. Is there going to be a crash? No, Gotto in the wall there slows him right down. Kokuma back up into P4 now, leading this train. Sorry, Morimoto in the Toyota there is now as well. These guys all fighting furiously for that last podium place. Sato in the wall. He's round. Sato there in the wall, and there goes Porsche's effort for any position here in round 1 of the Grand Final.
Well, we said it was going to bubble up, and so it proved to us into that position just due. The upshot is, whilst this battle's been going on,
Kawakami, Sato goes, he's the one that caused that contact there, so I might as well just have this last position, but of course, the investigation, the result of that might change this race entirely.
Great driving from Kawakami, did it too much over the last few laps.
To Kawakami, it means something doesn't mean it isn't your fault. And unfortunately for Kawakami, that 3-second penalty is going to take him way outside the points there, as you can see.
The fence in the Manufacturers' Cup. So now, what does it look like for the final podium place as well? Morimoto still right on the coattails of Ryota Kokuma in the Mazda at the moment. We're right on board with Yusuke Gotto, who was up as high as 3rd a few moments ago, but has sort of lost out, really, as it were. Now he's got a face full of Lexus as we come across the timing line, and there is the penalty being served for Kawakami, who drops back down to, what, 9th position now, so that's really proven to be quite detrimental to the reigning Manufacturers' Cup champions here.
Yeah, unfortunate for them, but of course the fight still rages on at the front of the field for P3. It's Mazda versus Toyota. These guys have been rivals in the Manufacturers' Cup for about as long as I can remember it, and still going on here. Goto in the background in that Lamborghini. It's a good run for Lamborghini.
Yeah, I wonder if the balance of performance update for this season has just helped them a little bit in terms of series events in 2025. Meanwhile, we look here at Kokuma with Morimoto again still very close behind. 2 and up into the field. The lead of the race is changing hands here between Miyazono and Zadorwell, and good looking at this battle for the final podium places. But the two of Miyazono and Zaya Suzuki are getting pretty...
Suzuki using the power of the BMW, able to pull back through, but now Miyazono making his move. 2 laps to go here then at the Grand Final lead here. So Miyazono there using the toe up the rest of the course and managed to maintain 1st position.
Yeah, it worked quite nicely there for Takuma Miyazono, sort of lunged his way to the inside. The door was kind of half open, but he decided to open it fully, going through into that corner and force Suzuki for a wider line to compromise his compatriots exit going through there. Look at it, and a lap and a half left to remain for this one. It's too close to call. You have to say the BMW faster in a straight line, but the Subaru definitely quicker in the twisty bits.
You've got to think about it here. The high speed game of chess. The Suzuki there shows his hand. Up into first place goes Team BMW. Is that where Miyazono wants to be though? Because on the next lap, the final lap, he'll have the toe down to the hairpin. But Suzuki is not thinking about that right now. Miyazono looking to the inside. Will he ever go here? Yeah, showing his nose there, going for a very late move on Suzuki. They're just trying to unsettle him on exit now as the sun goes down. We go in tonight, and Miyazono now starting to move around on that medium compound of tyres. So that medium compound starting to get now to the end of its use.
Points available for the top 6 drivers here in this one as well. Who is going to be taking the maximum crown though? And Suzuki was just into the wall on the outside there as we head across the timeline to begin the final lap. It's BMW versus Subaru. It's Suzuki versus Miyazono as we head down into turn 1 for the final time.
Here we go then, a little bit of contact there. Suzuki on the way through, have to be millimetrically perfect through here to get the best line. And Miyazono now in a great position for a move down into the bottom of the course. But do you go for that if you're Miyazono? Do you just wait and be patient and take the move into the hairpin? Let's wait and see. Miyazono deep in the slipstream, goes to the outside then, coming down to this first hairpin. Going to get squeezed out, I think, by Suzuki. Looks to try and go back inside, but as Suzuki might have outbraked himself here. Will Miyazono get the cut back? Not quite for now.
Suzuki's got that line covered there quite nicely, hasn't he? It's going to be all about the traction, the exit out of this corner and the run through into the next series of them then. So we ride on board with Takuma Miyazono battling for the victory and trying to get maximum points for Subaru to try and take that crown back in the Manufacturers' Cup in 2025. And now we know that Miyazono pretty handy in the slipstream and diving his way to the inside. He's going to have to think about this one quite carefully then here. Use that strength of the Subaru in the last stages of this race.
Here we are then in the toe. Miyazono quite far back though. It's going to be quite a big lunge there for Takuma. So Suzuki in front. Miyazono on board looking to try and displace them. Coming down to the hairpin now, deep in the toe. 272 kilometres an hour. Suzuki goes defensive. Miyazono goes all the way to the outside. Can he try and get a putt? He does! Plays him like a fiddle. Up into first place goes Takuma Miyazono. Masterful move there from the multiple champion. Up into lead he goes with only a few corners to go.
There is no adage for experience in the Gran Turismo World Series, and so it proves to be for Takuma Miyazono. Sasaki and Kawakami are under investigation in the closing stages of this race, but that was absolutely brilliant from Takuma Miyazono. Just a handful of corners now remaining. Can Suzuki invent something? I think he's a bit too far away unless you can think about a lunge to the inside, but it is then going to be maximum points in Gran Turismo World Series 1 here in London for Team Subaru and for Takuma Miyazono, who win the grand final. What a fantastic end to that race. Suzuki and BMW come over the line in second. It's Kokkoman for Mazda on the podium in third place. Morimoto for Toyota, Okamoto for Nissan, and then Kamada for...
الله اخطف الفوز راعي السوبارو. شوف هذا السباق. شوف المشاركين منه.
Grid then is lined up. Jose Serrano starts his one on pole position. Paul Yora, his compatriot, alongside on the front row of the grid. Adriano Carrazza from Brazil heads row 2, and he has got Kylian Drumont, the Frenchman, on home soil at the Circuit de la Sarthe company. Thomas Lamousselet heads row 3 in the Aston Martin, of course, and then it is Angel Inestrosa, 6th position on the grid. Takuma Miyazono, P7, he's the reigning world champion with Valerio Gallo for company. Completing the top 10 is Guy Barbara, the Australian, and just on the fringes of it is Takuma Sasaki, who will be hoping for better fortunes in the race. Kai de Bruyne lines up P11, the Dutchman, and then 12th position is the newcomer, Samuel Cardinal, the Canadian, is at the back of the field. So, soft tyres for the drivers, 5 laps and a rolling start here, Jimmy.
Yes, not really much you can do in terms of strategy. It's just, as suggested, an all-out sprint race, all about pace here. So, will we see the two Spanish drivers?
Yes, did everybody get a
Spanish drivers nowhere right now as Drummond already all sad start for him.
Drummond, who in turn gets hit by another driver there as well.
I think Miyazono might have been the one that started that off. It's quite difficult, but the upshot that going to be
involved in it because, of course, they'll want to finish ahead.
Devised the big option
there, and boy, what he's got left of that battery. We saw the two Spaniards using that and leaning on it quite heavily over the course, losing up again.
Access from the pair in front. Remind second, Sarah finds back up.
To creep in, penalties that are being picked up here.
Yeah, the win. Oh no, go through here and
yeah, step in. They get on the loud pedal and on the battery. You can see the crowd here.
It's so easy. So look at Skimmy. Could do about it. It's August
second, but sent Barbara into the wall there on the second phase of that Porsche curve.
No, that's a big repair bill at Valkyrie, I'll tell you that.
Now, who's about a second or so up the road. So Gallo, what he needs at the moment so on this news.
The big one out.
The race has been
quite it was nearly 4 seconds at the start of this lap, so he is starting to catch him.
We come down here. At the moment, Serrano looks okay, but it's a thousand. Serrano still holds it.
He's really struggling with traction, but Ura is now on the back.
And Serrano with enough of an advantage, unless he runs it wide or Ura goes for a dive bomb to the inside, but I don't think he doesn't do so. It's there on his home circuit.
Absolutely dominating the sprint race, the format, so very, very quick. He won.
One of those two drivers. The upshot is it is Jose Serrano.
يعني 3 دقائق مع كم؟ أظن 10 دقائق. سباق قصير صعب تفوز فيه.
Ready and focused to go for this race, but here is how the grid will line up. Lots of action to come at the Grand Valley Highway reverse circuit in the Red Bull X 2019, and Jose Serrano has got a clean view down towards that first corner. His compatriot Paul Ura alongside him, brilliant they both were in that sprint race a few moments ago. Kylian Drummond heads row 2, and he has got Takuma Sasaki, who made his way up from 10th to 4th at the checkered flag. Gallo lines up P5 at the head of row 3, and alongside him is Thomas Leboutelet. Next up, Takuma Miyazono, the reigning world champion. Not been his day so far in the Nations Cup. Can he make forward progress from there with Angelina Stroza for company alongside? Guy Barbara just on the fringes of the top 10, and completing it is Kai de Bruyne, who we saw in the wars in the sprints. And also Adriano Carazza, he'll be wanting to move forwards from 11th position, and Sam Cardinal. We haven't really seen much from the newcoming Canadian here, and we do now see a look at the tyre strategies, Jimmy. Lots of drivers starting on the medium tyres, but a few on the hards as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think you take a stab at it, right? If you're
because presumably being on those soft tyres, he's going to
have big move there by Kai de Bruyne. I think he knows now he doesn't need
the end of the inside is what he needs, and he gets yeah, hard tyres to the end of this one when you've got soft shop runners behind and medium shop runners. First corner, Gallo, a decisive move there into the race lead for the first time.
And it's so cool seeing this guy's race. I mean, we've been doing this now for, I think this is our 8th year now.
He's the pit lane there behind. So it's Gallo versus Drummond, and Gallo leads on the soft compound of tyre. And now surely he's going to pull away from Drummond. What about Sasaki as well? Can he? second. What is might be able to snatch a point off of the Japanese driver. He's on the quicker compound of tyre and has gone for the one-stop strategy. Sasaki to the inside then of Gallo at the start of lap 23 and to the race lead. In the corners, right back it's already
the ultimate pace right now. I mean, like, he's not shut like Suzuki with the same thing. Can't quite make that one stick though for now. And Gallo he knows that if these guys get away,
span go is an every point matters, even in the opening round of the who's down in 5th place. I know he's on the hard compound of tyre, but you can see there, but over this.
Yes, because of the fighting we saw in that lap, I don't think the pace is anyone right now. But that last lap time there, Sasaki and Gallo, Sasaki and Gallo, sorry, having a fight. Will we see Gallo go for a move?
No, not quite. He's not close. Only one lap, poking to sort of get involved.
Gallo behind. He's doing that whilst to the rear tyres percentage-wise, and we might have a graphic for it soon. But
so down the link is one step away from it tonight. Drive, get the lightning, which has worked quite
an ultimate lap. So Scott Patrick, who will win? Well, in a lap and a half.
The back of it to the
first win of the year. Here, of course, needs to find a way past Jose Serrano. There's realistically maybe at the
order as well. Nations Cup. Brilliant from Paul Ura if he can make it stick. Side by side they run into the braking zone. Serrano's got trap position. Ura's off onto the grass on the inside. He's got the line though on the inside, but he switches to the outside line with the next left-hander, and somehow Serrano retains the lead.
Ura's got a toe though down here. This will be the last chance in realistic to make the move. When he goes to the inside of Jose Serrano, looks for it, doesn't quite make the move stick. Serrano goes deep into the braking zone. Will he now get the cut back into this right-hander? Ura takes a wider line. Serrano sits on the apex there. Stops Ura getting the power, but a slight wheel spin moment. Ura looks to the outside. Again, he's alongside, but just can't make it stick. He's wide, he's wide.
Yeah, he's no. Oh, it's so hard though when you run it deep though, because it switches back to that left-hander, and he just gave Serrano enough track position. Half a lap to go then here, separating Serrano and Ura from victory in the Grand Final in the Nations Cup. And he goes to the inside for Ura. Can he make it stick on Serrano? He slides. Is that moment over? Is that victory over for Serrano? For Ura then against Jose Serrano. It's advantage Serrano with just a few corners now remaining.
Serrano then, I think maybe called the bluff there on Paul Ura, just about managing to take the win away. Maybe one last chance for Paul Ura.
It's going to be a drag to the line between Serrano and for Ura then, between the two of them, but Jose Serrano pulls a blinder and wins the Grand Final of the Nations Cup here in London. It's Jose Serrano on top, Paul Ura in second, Valerio Gallo will take third ahead of Takuma Sasaki. What a fantastic end to that race. It has absolutely destroyed my vocal cords as Jose Serrano destroys the competition here in London.
If you're anyone else but a Spanish GT driver right now, you're probably thinking, what do I have to do? Gallo there did really well, I think, to make that soft tyre last. His right rear tyre was on 3%.
انتهى السباق. لندن، برلين، لوس أنجلوس. إيش هذا؟ في سيارات وايد.
A new star boy, and the light so bright, make a star war. And my pants so tight, make my legs sore. Still tryna figure out what they came for. A men tryna figure out what they came for. And she dance hard till she can't dance more.
وين يبيعوا السيارة؟ بعد تشتري تذاكر منه ما سهلة. كومارو كورفت كلاسيك كورفت كلاسيك موجود. نمت وين يبيعوا السيارة؟ أخي ما عرفنا وين نبيع السيارة. عرفت كيف أبيع السيارات. أعزائي المشاهدين، انتهى بث اليوم، نلتقي على خير.